Look at this big triangle. I've used 7 crayons to make it. I have a small riddle for you today. Ready? Let's try to make 3 triangles only by moving 2 of these crayons. We can only move 2 to make 3 triangles. Remember that a triangle has 3 sides. Do you think it is possible to change this one big triangle into 3 smaller triangles by only moving 2 crayons? Which ones should we move? I'm going to remove this one over here, place it here, and this one here. Now we have 3 triangles. 1, 2, 3. Do you want to play more games related to shapes? Watch this math episode. We are going to explore the various kinds of shapes. Do you remember what angles are? An angle is formed when 2 lines intersect or meet at a shared point. The space here is the angle. Angles can be wide, and we call them obtuse angles. The lines at times would be closer to each other, forming an acute angle. The third type of angle is right angle, and these are formed when we have a straight horizontal line meeting a straight vertical line, like when the wall meets the floor. I have here some marshmallows and toothpicks. Let's use them to create angles. Each toothpick represents a line, and the marshmallow is the angle. So, this is a right angle. If the space is greater than the right angle, it's an obtuse angle. And if it is smaller, then it is acute. Can you guess the type of angle in these pictures? There's an open laptop, an alligator's snout, and the sun lounger, or a sun chair. Which picture shows a right angle? The laptop, which is opened to form a right angle, a 90-degree angle. Which picture shows an obtuse angle, which is more than 90 degrees? The sun lounger. We are left with the alligator's snout. It forms an acute angle. What happens if we add one more line to each of these angles? I will now add a second, and a third toothpick, and then a third line to my shape. It becomes a triangle. When 2 lines meet, they form an angle. When more than 2 lines meet, we get a shape. Tri means 3, and triangle means a shape with 3 angles. If 3 lines meet, a triangle is formed. Did you know that there are multiple types of triangles? What is the difference between these 3 triangles? They contain different types of angles. The first triangle is called a right triangle because it has one right angle. Can you guess what the purple triangle is called? Look carefully at its angles. If the triangle has one right angle, it is called a right triangle. And if a triangle has only one obtuse angle, it is called an obtuse triangle. Now, what do we call a triangle that has no obtuse and no right angles? It's an acute triangle, since it has 3 acute angles. Let's look at the types of triangles from a different perspective. I used 3 toothpicks that are equal in size. All its sides are equal. So this is an equilateral triangle. This slice of pizza is an equilateral triangle. All sides are equal. Does this other triangle have any equal sides? Yes, in fact, only 2 of its sides are equal in size. And this last one has no equal sides. Triangles come in different shapes, but they all have one thing in common: 3 sides and 3 angles. Now, if 4 lines meet, what shapes will we have? squares. This is a picture frame. And rectangles, like this doormat. But are these the only shapes we get if we connect 4 lines? Let's create squares. We need 4 sides, so 4 toothpicks, and 4 angles, 4 marshmallows. I am forming a square using the toothpicks and the marshmallows. And if you don't have marshmallows, you can also use Play-Doh. How many angles do we see in a square? 4 sides and 4 angles. What can you say about the angles of a square? They are all right angles. What happens if we had acute and obtuse angles instead of those right angles? Look carefully. The shape will not be a square. It's a diamond. If I change the size of the angles, the square becomes a diamond, which is also called a rhombus. Look at the door of the room you're in right now. What shape is it? It's a rectangle. Let us now create a rectangle. This time, I need lines of different size. So, this is my rectangle. Rectangles also have 4 right angles, but only opposite sides are equal. And the sides that meet form right angles. What happens if this shape has acute and obtuse angles instead of right? Look carefully. It would not be a rectangle anymore. What do we call this shape? Do you know it? It becomes a parallelogram. What can we say about opposite sides in all these shapes? Squares, rhombuses, rectangles, and parallelograms. Can opposite sides meet? Do they intersect? No. In those shapes, opposite sides are always parallel. Look at these shapes. How many sides does each one have? What are they called? The first shape has 5 sides. Penta means 5. And a shape that has 5 sides and 5 angles is called a pentagon. These shapes don't have to have equal sides. But you know, I'm a perfectionist, and I prefer to see all their sides equal. When 5 lines connect to form a closed shape, a pentagon is formed, just like this one. When 6 lines meet, a hexagon is formed. Finally, do you know what we call a shape with 8 sides? It is an octagon. Octa means 8. Remember how an octopus has 8 arms? An octagon has 8 sides. There is one last shape I want you to guess. I'm going to create it using plenty of marshmallows and toothpicks. There's no limit to the number of marshmallows that I can use. There's no limit to the number of sides or lines I'm using. Can you guess what shape I'm creating? You can always create those shapes at home using marshmallows, matches. You can use Play-Doh. So, I can use countless number of sides and angles. What shape is that? Did you guess it? I can go on and on. Actually, it's a circle. A circle is a curved shape since it has no straight side and no angles. In this episode, my friends, we explored how shapes are formed with lines and angles. We learned the names of different types of polygons. Poly means many. Polygons are the shapes that have many sides. Do you still remember all those shape names? I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
لمشاهدة المزيد من الحلقات زوروا سات7 بلس.